Hey friends, we're back again. Here's Ozzy. I guess it was kind of a popular demand that Troy get back on here with me, and
4 requests.
Not including mine.
5.
But really excited about
Possibly
that.
popular demand. Nearly popular.
We went recently. I'm just about finished with Jack London's People of the Abyss. And it's kind of sad. In 1902, against like lots of friends, wishes, he went to live in London's East End, where all the most destitute and the poorest of the poor were, and spent nights out on the streets and different things. And basically, he just wanted to bring to light the struggles these people were going through and how city officials and different things were making it nearly impossible for them to improve their station in life and their circumstances. So it's really, really interesting. And recently we went to a thrift store that we haven't been to in years. And although at first I said I'm never going back there again, I think next time I'll be more mentally prepared, because the more I've thought about it, we found a lot of good books there, and they were at most 50 cents. Isn't he cute? But for 25 cents, I found this copy of The Call of the Wild. And I just thought it was great. I really, really love that cover. I'm not sure who illustrated it. Hopefully, maybe the book tells me that if I actually read it. But I wouldn't be surprised if Jack London illustrated it, because he seems like one of those lucky people that was just good at lots of stuff.
Yeah.
And then I helped Troy find books. We've been looking for this for a long time.
A long time.
Dune by Frank Herbert. And it's not a bad copy, especially for it to be 50 cents. I mean, you can't really ask for too much. And then we found a bunch of Michael Crichton.
I don't know how to say his name. I know I've heard it before. I'm not sure if I'm capable of saying his name. But Disclosure. Rising Sun.
And this one wasn't great shape, but
yeah, I did some repairs on it. If I find a better copy later on, I'll probably pick it up if it's not too much. But The Great Train Robbery. So I'm trying to get all of his stuff.
And they had a pretty good section of quite a few horror books. Some of them were the Avon publisher, Zebra.
Yeah.
There's another one, but we found this.
Really cool. I think I saw Paperback Mania hold this up recently, but it's a Leisure, and the cover was totally off of that book, but I still got it just because it looks so cool. But we went to Hobby Lobby and went to the scrapbooking section, and I picked that up, and that stuff works really good. I've glued books back together before, and this is definitely the best stuff I've ever used. It dried fast. Yes. It went on real thin. None of the pages are stuck together. It didn't seep up through the binding.
But it's still flexible, so you can definitely open and close the book without any problems.
Yep.
So that was fun. So, I will go back. I'll be mentally prepared. Lots of hand sanitizer.
Yeah, they had a black mold issue there that day when we were there.
Yeah. And then and you finished reading this David Klein book.
Yeah, Fourth Down. That book was not what I expected. It was way more intense than I expected. Like I said, I bought it a long time ago.
We're so glad that he wants to be a part.
Oh, there he goes.
He's moving on.
Yeah. But anyways, I bought that book a long time ago. Where's it at? Yeah, David Klein, Fourth Down. It was really good. Way more intense than I thought it was going to be. Stuff got real in that. One funny thing that I definitely recommend it. It's good if you ever see it. But one thing that was funny was they did this thing where it takes place in New York. It's a sports writer, and he has a friend that's an FBI, or not FBI agent, but like a lieutenant with the what would they be called?
The police station?
Yeah, but he's not like a police officer. Like a Investigator, yeah. So it's kind of those two together, and then there's a lady, and it's just like a lot of the old, more pulpy books where everybody's connected in some way. She knows a guy, and he knows a guy. They all know a guy, and everybody owes each other a favor. So, like, if they need something with the coroner, the agent's like, oh, well, I know a guy that owes me a favor. And then the sports reporter guy is like, oh, well, hey, we need this. I know a guy that he owes me a favor. So there's like 15 favors that are traded on in this book.
You could have like your own drinking game.
Yeah, if you did a drink every time you did a shot every time somebody has a favor cashed in. Yeah, you'd be drunk fast. But it's good. It's, a lot of times, especially those kind of pulp books where, like you got the insta love where people fall in love just as soon as they see each other and they're ready to die for each other. And then you've got, oh, well, I'm a bum, but I also know a guy that works in forensics, and he owes me a favor, that kind of stuff. Yeah, then you'd hit. But it was good. I definitely enjoyed it. Way more intense than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a fun little, like, lightweight read, and it wasn't. It got very dark in some points, and I wasn't expecting that, but it wasn't bad. But that put me in the mood to read some more of that style thing. So I picked up Michael Connelly. This is the Bosch series. And I'm always, no matter what I'm reading, I always have a Bosch, Michael Connelly, and a James Rollins Sigma Force going in the background. I'm always reading these on and off. And then I might just stop for a second and read something else.
And this we actually, believe it or not, we bought at Books A Million.
Yeah, that's a new book.
I insisted on it because I found two books outside that were on discount or clearance or whatever. And I thought that these would be books that I could read with our boys. They do still enjoy that. And I don't do it enough. And the back of this one, it totally sold me. I thought that it was just a beautiful book to begin with because the maps in it, if you read any fantasy, there's got to be maps. And I just thought that was really pretty. And then without the jacket, the book is kind of like embossed. And I don't know, I'm just a sucker for good book covers. The author, I've actually watched him host different things on EWTN, but the back totally sold me. So bear with me. I'm just going to read it really quick. Tell me what you saw. Don't be afraid, dear. Aunt Lucille leaned in close and in her huskiest voice added, I can help you. It was a shadow. Fear washed over Will's face. It was black, like a phantom, right next to me. Everything got icy cold. Lucille placed a silken arm around the boy. It was a spirit. You saw a dark spirit, Will. You've probably been seeing them for a long time, So I thought that sounded really good because I had like night terrors as a kid. So I was like, ooh. And then this I thought was really cool. I really like George R.R. Martin. And this is the Ice Dragon. And oddly enough, when we went to Dragon Con, we got a poster of this.
Yep.
And it's illustrated. It looks absolutely beautiful. So Randy and Trent were excited when they saw it. So
yep.
I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
2013, I think, was when we went.
Yeah, it's been a long time ago. It seems like. But it's really, really beautiful.
That was the same. I just grabbed this.
Yeah.
But it was
without the jacket.
Yeah. That was the same Dragon Con. I met the dude that wrote this, James R. Tuck. And I haven't read this yet, but I read the first in this series. I went ahead and wrote them all down. This dude was really cool. He's like a tattoo artist also in Georgia somewhere. But he was a really nice guy. This guy's like, he hunts, he hunts, what are they called? Like vampires and monsters and things like that. But I got the list of all of his books as of that time. But really good. And he was a really nice guy. But we had fun at Dragon Con that year.
Yeah. And then Troy recently, he ordered some books. He already had this book, Bust, which I think you kind of thought of this while you were reading
Michael
Klein or Dave Klein.
Dave Klein, yeah.
So He had that one, and then the last one, which is bigger, but
Yeah.
I would think because of that picture, I mean, why not? She is gorgeous.
Yeah, it's a different size than all the rest of them. This one's newer than those, but you know, they've changed sizes. But that's probably my favorite cover for a hard case crime. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I actually bought this one first, and then I looked on the back, and it was like, these three are before it. I was like, well, crap. But I read this already, and it was really good, and it's followed up by Slide and The Max.
I like how those first two, like, there's like the picture, but then there's like a reflection of
Yeah,
something.
they did those, and then they just said, we're just going to do
that would kind of,
stuff now.
because it's a window, but there's no kind of reflection.
No reflection in that one. But this one pretty much sums up what this series is. It says, I want to kill these guys, except I can't stop laughing long enough. And that sums this series up. These aren't good people. I just read the first book, and there are really no good guys. And you don't particularly like the leading characters at all, but they are very funny, and it's hard to just, you know, after reading the first one, the way it leaves you, you're kind of like, well, let me see what else happened. So, and I had the first one, or I bought the fourth one, and then I got the first one, so I might as well read the ones in between too. So I'm gonna start on those as I'm also reading the Rollins and Michael Connelly. So.
And when he got those, he got me this.
Yeah.
Paperback Junkie showed this on one of his videos, and I just went crazy because I absolutely love that cover.
Mm-hmm.
And like an idiot, I also thought that was real money for a second. But it's not.
She would have been one of the people to come up and talk to you if you were reading this in public. Yeah, she would have.
But what I'm most stoked about is this written by Krista Faust.
Yeah.
And Hoodtown's probably one of my most favorite things I've ever read.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to that.
We have the other one too, Chokehold. We got Chokehold. It's coming in the mail. So it'll be here in a day or two probably.
Yeah. And I realized, like, way after the fact, my last video, I'd mentioned that I had gotten 2 lists, 100 mysteries and then 100 sci-fi. And I decided, because I felt like I needed to do a TBR. So basically, I'm using the sci-fi list as like a TBR. And I was really excited about, you know, felt really good to go through and be like, oh, I've read that, I've read that, I've read that. And then there were also books on here that I was like, oh, wow, I actually have those. And just a few of the ones that I realized that we do have, that these were books that I just like. Okay, Stephen Donaldson. I bought this, I believe, at our Trade 'em Books, yeah, because it has this stamp on it. And really, I just got this because I liked the title. But I was really happy to see that this was one of the, 100 best sci-fi books recommended. And I guess really it's all the chronicles of Thomas Covenant. So I'm really, really excited about Lord Foulsbane. And it is a pretty sweet cover. Another one of the series that they mentioned is the Dark Elf Trilogy by R.A. Salvatore. I lost the jacket to this forever ago. It's the Legend of Drizzt. And I actually did read the first one, and that was one of the coolest books I've ever read. Really, really enjoyed it. It was very dark and very different from anything else I've ever read. It was really amazing, and I never would have, I guess I never would have, thought about it, but I think you just bought that for me for
you
birthday
met a guy,
Christmas.
you met a, you talking about Drizzt?
Yeah.
Drizzt, how do you say it? You met a guy that worked at a prison at the, he was talking about, she'd have been the one to walk up to you and start talking. Well, you were in the fantasy books, and she saw a dude there, and she was like, I don't know what you said. You started talking to him probably. Yeah. And he is a prison guard. And he was like, this is what everybody in the prison loves right now. This is what all the convicts are reading. So she was like, well, let me check it out.
It was really good. It was really, really cool. It is, Salvatore does an amazing job of creating a setting that is unlike anything else that I've ever read. It was really cool. And there's this. I mean, it's a list of 100 books, so I'm not going to.
That's all about him escaping from like a dark place.
Yeah, well, where he lives, they live underground is where they live, and everything is so cutthroat and like so backward from anything we could think of.
Hey.
And he's just the one guy that is like, there's got to be something else out there.
That makes sense, doesn't it?
But I'm trying to find it's Steven Erickson. Oh, where is it on here? I'm gonna be on the back. It's crap. I'm sorry, y'all. I know this is like the most fascinating thing to see me just looking on this, trying to find this book.
James R. Tuck.
The Malazan book.
Google it.
The Malazan Book of the Fallen series. I bought this somewhere.
We got that at DragonCon for free. We went to the tour book thing, and they were giving out stuff.
I just liked the cover, and this is what happens before those. So I was like, well, that's pretty cool because it's all Celtic and Viking looking, and there's a skull in it, and I just thought it looked really awesome. You know, I didn't really know anything about it, so these are probably going to be some of the first things that I try to read on this TBR, and there are a ton more on here that we have that I will try and read, but for the moment, these are the ones that I am the most interested in. And what are you reading next?
I think those I'll be reading. I'm probably going to read Money Shot and Chokehold, but I'm also going to read Angel's Flight, and I still haven't finished that Tim Curran book. I can't remember what it's called. I'm going to start over. Skull Moon. Still going to read Skull Moon.
Cool. So,
finishing Skull Moon. Going to continue Bust. Going to continue James Rollins, Sigma Force. Going to continue Michael Connolly, Bosch. And whatever else I pick up. I might read Spawn from Hell. I might read James R. Tuck, Blood and Bullets.
Yeah, I definitely want to know if anyone else has read Chronicles of Thomas Covenant. Tell me what you thought about it. Because I think I have this one and the next one. So let me know if it's, if it's really good, if it's not, or whatever, because I'm pretty sure there's probably more of those at Trading Books. So
yep, we know a guy. We know a guy that can take care of that.
Yeah, I got a favor.
Yeah.
And if you've read the Steven Erickson, let me know, because I think this, well, it's just book one of a trilogy.
That's supposed to be really hard fantasy. That's why I've been intimidated by it, because I've read a hard sci-fi before, and I was not smart enough, straight up. But I've enjoyed it. I think, oh shoot, I can't remember the name of it, but Honor Harrington, I've read the first 4 of those, and I think, if I understand right, that's hard sci-fi, because they go deep into how the ship works and all this stuff, and it would be just big, I think info dumps is what they're called, where it'd just be a huge ton of information about why the ship propels itself, and I would just fight my way through it, because I really enjoyed those books. And if this is like that, but fantasy, dealing with magic, I don't know if I'm going to be able to deal with it, but I bet she can.
I'll be good with that.
So if she reads it, then when I read it and I don't understand, she can explain it to me. So, that.
Next up, I still really want to do a bookshelf tour. We've rearranged things, and I've tried to pull all my books and kind of get them grouped together in certain places. So we'll probably definitely be doing that, because I found books I'd forgotten about that I haven't read.
Yeah, we went digging. We went to we've been clearing out our house, and we found so much stuff. We found a drawer of books. She was about to start rebuying all the Robert Jordan Wheel of Time, and we start digging out, and I pull out a drawer, and they're all in there except one. So we almost bought those twice.
Yeah, we were getting rid of that one because it was held together with duct tape.
Yeah, it's an old one.
But it was one that I think
from the same place we got
the nasty thrift stores where I got it.
Yeah, Black Mold Thrift.
Yeah.
probably 10 years ago.
Yeah, a really long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's all we have for today. Let us know if you want to keep seeing Troy join me. I'm probably going to keep insisting on it because it's a lot of fun.
I'm going to try to get her to do one more take of this where we can do better. Because I think we can do better if she will do it. So you'll never know.
I'll never know.
Yeah.